Hi there and welcome to this short video where I want to give you some advice, some practical advice on what to do after the results. The key message is you need to be prepared for whatever outcome you receive. And as I see it, there really are only three outcomes. First one, you pass. Second one, you don't pass. And the third one, if you don't pass, what plan do you have to succeed next time? And what I want to give you is some guidance on what to do in each of the separate situations. So results are out on Friday at midnight, and you are likely to be in possession of them now. So what do? Well, the first thing, we pass. Fantastic. Congratulations. Well done. Passing a professional exam is a significant achievement. If this was your final exam, I wish you every success in the future. You are now going to get the benefit of being a qualified accountant. You can hopefully double or triple your salary in the next 2 to 5 years. You can now really think about where you want your career to take you. If you don't like finance, you can leave as a qualified accountant, move sideways into a much higher level job. Be proud of yourself. Well done for putting everything in. However, if you passed, but you still have more exams to do, so enjoy a few days to celebrate the achievement, but maybe don't celebrate too long because you don't want to lose that study habit. So after a short break, make sure you have a refocus and you begin to think about your next exam and the preparation you need to do for it. Okay? However, what if you don't pass? Well, if results are disappointing, my first piece of advice is don't waste any energy on regret. Professional exams are tough, as I've said. Pass rates are about 50%. There's nothing you can do about the past. If you've heard me speak before, you'll know I'm a massive believer that you are the architect of your future. You are not the prisoner of your past. And what matters now is not what happened. What matters is what you do next. So we need to give some thought with regards to what can we do next time? How can we ensure a pass next time? Well, there's a number of things we should make sure we're doing. And the first thing you want to consider is reflect on what you did. Think about where you can improve. So let's have an honest reflection of what went well with our study. What could we improve? And by doing this exercise, thinking about where we can improve, that will create awareness of what we can maybe do better. So first off, how did you? Did you study alone? What materials did you use? You can study independently and people pass the exams doing it that way, but it's pretty tough. And you've also got to be very careful about the resources you use. There's lots of misleading advice online, especially on social media. So if you were using some dodgy advice, I would stay away from it. I would recommend you stick with ACCA approved resources. These resources have been reviewed by the examining team. They're aligned with the exam. People giving information on YouTube or whatever, often you will never find them on the ACCA website. You'll never find them on ACCA Student Accountant. You'll never find them on the ACCA YouTube channel. And I would treat all their advice with caution. Only deal with approved learning providers. And the ACCA resources are free, and I'd say they're excellent. However, if you failed doing maybe study on your own, maybe consider getting an expert to help you. I would ask myself the question, would I teach myself to swim? Would I teach myself to learn to drive? Would I teach myself to learn a language? A musical instrument? Well, you could, but it would be far more effective and far less painful if you went with an expert. But how do we know if that person really is an expert? Because there's lots of people out there on social media who claim to be experts. Well, my advice would be do an audit of that person who you are going to trust to help you pass your exam next time. Yep. What would you be looking at? I would be looking at whether they deliver an ACCA approved course. Are they an ALP? You can check that out on the ACCA website. Do they contribute to ACCA articles? Do they contribute to ACCA advice? Do they contribute to the YouTube channel? Do your research. Yep. Someone who is an expert will leave a big trail on official resources. Someone that's not, you won't find them there. What else do we need to do? Well, I would make sure that you create a timetable of living. Yep. And have a balance between work, between study, between family or friends, and most importantly, have rest, exercise and sleep in the diary. So sleep in particular, it's absolutely essential. Yeah. Some people will neglect that. And did you neglect your sleep when you were studying for the December exam? When we sleep, our brain processes and consolidates all the information we've studied. Yep. Poor sleep will undermine learning. The information will not be consolidated. Yeah. So to help you get better sleep, and that your brain's in tip-top condition, maybe think about, using an Apple Watch or other tools that help us get better sleep. Yep. No green light before bedtime, that kind of thing. Do some research on how to make sure you have tip-top sleep. Also, if we create a timetable of living, we're breaking down our day into blocks of time. Those blocks of time allocated for work, a little bit of study, exercise, time with family and friends. Make sure you do that. Yeah. Because when we do that, we create a routine. When we create a routine, that routine can then become a habit. So what? Well, when we have a habit, we need no willpower to do them. We just do it. They just happen. So important to create habits that will come from having a timetable of living. And you need to work on that. And then I think the final thing we need to do, because we might be a bit down in the dumps having not passed an exam, is reconnect with our why. Why are we doing these exams? It's really important to have a conversation with yourself about that, because that's going to help motivate you on those days you don't fancy it. Yeah, you chose to do accountancy exams for a reason. Why? Was it career progression? Was it financial security? Do you want to go traveling with an internationally recognized qualification? Do you have other lifestyle goals? Make that reason visible. Put a picture on the wall. Is it a car? Is it a destination? Is it a lifestyle? Yeah. Keep looking at that image to remind yourself that this short-term pain is going to provide you with a massive amount of long-term gain. So, as a final few words, whatever your result on Friday was, don't let it define you. If you passed, fantastic. Enjoy it. But if you didn't, hey, it's a tough exam. Yeah, you now have a strategy in place so that you will pass it next time. Being prepared will remove any stress, and as the saying goes, forewarned is forearmed. Remember, we cannot change our past, but we can design our future. Yep. If you need any more advice, WhatsApp me. I speak to all my students all day long, every waking hour. I've got someone helping me on the other side of the world so that, I can respond to you maybe when I'm sleeping and when you're awake if you live in Australia or Singapore. But WhatsApp me. I'll get back to you. That's the quickest way. Any advice you need, I'm happy to advise. Yep. So thank you very much for listening. I wish you every success going forward. WhatsApp me if you need any more advice. All the very best, and thanks for listening.